This video was actually inspired by one of my really close friends. I feel like the topic is definitely relevant to myself and the people that God is trying to connect me with through this channel. So, shout out to everyone for giving me this topic to speak on today. Hey hun, my name is Jasmin Skky and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for joining the conversation. And to my returning subscribers, the love is definitely appreciated. Today we're going to be talking about distractions. And more importantly, how to address your emotions when you become overwhelmed instead of avoiding them. It actually took me a while to release this content because I noticed that even in preparing for this video and getting my thoughts together, I was giving myself other things to occupy my time. I have this idea of releasing perfectly orchestrated content, and I feel like with this idea, I lost sight of the reason why I started this channel. And I feel like this week, God has really been pushing me to get back into the flow. I wanted a platform that I could utilize to nurture my gift, to connect with like-minded people, and to aid in the discovery of my best self. In preparing for this video, I was so focused on finding a flow that would appeal to other people that I forgot about me. I let the fear of showcasing my imperfections scare me into sitting in my distractions. The message for today, if you take nothing else from this video, to all of my 20-somethings, stop hiding from your best self. We need to understand that the inclusion of distractions within our day-to-day stem from a level of discomfort within ourselves and our emotions. Whenever we feel uncomfortable, physically, spiritually, mentally, we give ourselves a distraction that gives us a level of contentment in the state in which we are in. And instead of dealing with the root cause of our discomfort and frustrations and addressing self, we decide to give ourselves other things to mask the issues. In continuously adding these fillers to our lives, we are preventing ourselves from growing into the people that God is calling us to be. When I look back on my life, even in still being young, I recognize that there are a lot of areas that I could have grown from earlier on had I not been hiding from my emotions. I think that a big thing that a lot of people my age deal with is the feeling of discomfort and uncertainty that's associated with transition. In my transition from college and moving away from my friends and family, I was extremely overwhelmed all the time and didn't even realize it. I was uncomfortable being alone to deal with my own thoughts. The idea of not having financial security at any given time absolutely scared me. And I feared that I would never fully be satisfied within my lifestyle. And I've been out of school for a little over a year now, and I can honestly say that it took me a while to really understand how I was feeling. I definitely stayed in a distracted state for a majority of my first year post-grad. I was constantly planning things that would keep me out of the house and around people, and things that would keep my mind moving and occupied with other things outside of my issues. I wasn't investing the time to understand my finances either, and I was just kind of going through the motions within my career. My focus was not at all on self-development or understanding where I was in life. It was definitely on sustaining and finding some sort or some level of comfort. And in doing that continuously, I found myself becoming more and more overwhelmed. My distractions, the going out, the budgeting, unintentional functionality within my career left me feeling tired, frustrated, and honestly insecure. And in my distractions, I was giving myself more and more emotions to overcome that were even outside of the initial root problem. Instead of recognizing my discomfort in my own space, I was constantly going out, and then my new focus was finding ways to not be physically tired afterwards. I was doing the bare minimum at my job and not getting that connectivity in the company that I needed. I was getting stuck in a mental rut and losing that drive and that passion that I initially came in with after I graduated. I was shifting my financial planning to accommodate the lifestyle that I thought I wanted, more so over my savings and planning for my long-term goals financially in the future. It got to the point where my play money was either equivalent to or superseded my savings budget, which is a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. Very sticky situation. But I noticed that in feeding into my distractions, I was doing more and more to cope with the feelings that were associated to them, and I was digging myself in a very, very deep hole. So the question is, what do we do when we find ourselves operating in fillers? I'm actually going to provide 3 tips in wrapping up this video to help you effectively eliminate distractions and handle your emotions with intention. First tip is to separate yourself for an amount of time during each day to reflect. You need to spend time in prayer or meditation or whatever you do to separate yourself from the outside world. Make sure that in this time you are intentional with you. If you are one to talk out your feelings, do so out loud so that way it penetrates your ears and gets into your soul. If you're not a very vocal person, try journaling. But do whatever you have to do to get your feelings out, but also that gives you an opportunity to internalize them again. The reason that you want to do this in this way is so that you have an understanding of where you are and you know that you have the ability to articulate them outside of just recognizing an off feeling. The second tip is to separate yourself from the triggers that enable you to fall into your distractions. This one you'll have to define a little bit more for yourself, but I'm going to lay out a personal example so that you can get this tip because it is big. Like I said, I used to like to go out a lot. I mean, I still like to go out, but it's a little bit different now. But I was going out and I recognized that it had a lot of negative effects on my body. I was always tired or feeling sick from drinking, and it really threw off my planning. The time that I set aside, or the time that I would try to set aside for personal development, started to become more of a recovery period. I had to separate myself from the type of people that I was going out with because I noticed that they were triggers to something I was utilizing as a distraction. And when I say separate, I do not mean cut off. Do not cut off your friends. I am not advocating for you to cut off the people in your circle. But I separated myself from the level of connectivity that I had with them. I didn't allow them to talk me into going out all the time. I took weekends and opportunities for myself, and I didn't feel bad about it. And I found other ways to connect with those people. You want to look at your distractions and ask yourself exactly how you ended up in that space and nip it in the source. The last tip is do something constructive with your time. Spend time strengthening yourself and operating in one or more of your gifts and put effort into things that are important to you. And a little plug here, if you don't know what's important to you, you should probably check out my last video, Change the Narrative, in which I talked about defining your core values and the things that you find valuable. Definitely a little something you should get into after you click out of this video. But just remember that operating within your gifts and spending time being intentional with yourself will allow God the opportunity to open doors for you and place you exactly where you need to be. That is all that I had for you guys today. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Comment, share, subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so that you are notified when the new videos are dropping. I will be including a link to my last video, Change the Narrative, either on the screen or in the description box below for you to get into if you haven't already. Again, thank you for chopping it up with me today, and I will catch you guys in my next video.